Hello everybody and welcome back to Fate Extra. Starting from the title screen because I saved it in the middle of after the end of a round. And I knew from the last time I did that it immediately keeps going on with the game. There's something weird with my audio. If I put the volume up, will it get louder? No, the weird thing is that before, like my audio levels were like very high in Audacity, but you know my voice wasn't actually that high. And now it's not doing that anymore, and I think it might be normal. Not entirely sure what's the case there, but hopefully my audio is fine and there isn't any issues. Well, this is no. With the evil music gone, I think I should be able to speak now. I'm gonna be quiet because that scene was very interesting. Well, Julius here, and what we can assume is his servant is not our opponent in week 3 or round 3, whatever you want to call it. So we don't really need to worry about him right now. Nothing too important. I have no idea what Ren's talking about, to be honest. Character profiles. Is he just talking about like where like we appear in like the arena? I don't know. Hey. Okay, later. Well, that was an interesting experience, wasn't it? We almost got killed by an assassin that had no reason to go after us. And supposedly the cormorants, or whatever word he said, is referring to a type of bird.
死を悼め。失ったものへの追悼は恥ずべきものではない。死は不可避であり、争いがそれを助長するのなら、死を悼み、戦いを憎み、死を認め、戦いを収めるがいい。
Week 3. 32 combatants remain. Shouldn't there be much less, considering that assassin just killed like several masters just there? I guess I just wanted to keep it even. For whatever reason. Oh, it's Alice, remember from the intro? If you were playing as this guy, you could have gone to meet Alice on that last day there in the simulation. I guess it's assumed that we did see those events with this guy as well. Seems like she has a weird personality issue there. There's a blue Alice and a red Alice. I suppose I'll spoil something about the fight with Alice later, at the end of the week. Her fight can be arguably the easiest. I don't believe that's a word, is it? Can be the most easy, or it can be the most difficult fight that you've come across at this point. It can be easy if you look up the boss patterns, because for the fight at the end of the week, her servant does the exact same thing every time. I think the reason why is because her noble phantasm completely recovers her, so you need to defeat her before she does her noble phantasm. Well, before her servant does her noble phantasm. And so the fight can be quite easy, since you can just look up the pattern, but it can be difficult if you don't know. I say pattern, it's not really a pattern, it's a set. There are set moves, but I'll call it patterns for now. Because if you know the moves, you can easily win without any issue. And so if you do the exact same things I do in my playthrough of the game, and when I fight Alice, you have no reason to lose against that opponent. So this can be arguably the easiest week in terms of a boss fight, but in the dungeons, not so much. Yeah, alright, I'll play tag. God. Excuse me. Oh God. What was I saying? I can't remember. Yes. Now I remember. The fight and the enemies in the arena are actually a bit difficult. I actually lose to one of them, and at the end of this episode, don't worry though, I already went back and recorded the rest of the floor for the day. And some of the cutscenes, most of the cutscenes for the next day, I believe. So in this episode, I'll lose. No, but don't worry about it. I go right back to where we were in the next episode. I forgot to mention, you guys could have seen that this episode is much shorter than usual. No real particular reason for that. I just felt that it ended off with me dying. It was fine. The next episode should be around the same length. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long it's gonna be after I cut out all the random battles. Here I buy silver earrings and a mermaid robe. The mermaid robe heals your servant for much more than the previous healing equipment, or former wear, I'd say. The silver earrings increases your servant's magic. Cast a code cast that increases your servant's magic. So I recommend you equip that if you have caster. If you have archer or saber, you want to buy the old rusty sword. You guys may have heard of that, as I was explaining before. I'm aware that some loud noise was occurring, and it was best for me not to have that go on. Anyway, buy the old rusty sword that increases strength. Archer and saber mainly focus on strength, I believe, so you're going to want that equipment for them. There's a bird-like enemy in this first floor here. You're gonna want to use your magic when you fight them. I think I was just lucky in the first few fights with them, because I get utterly demolished in the last fight, which causes me to lose. I recommend you just use your magic against them. I would say to conserve the most amount of caster's MP, use the silver earrings to raise her magic stat. 2 attacks, 2 magic spells, and an attack should be enough to finish off the bird-like enemies that we'll see later in this floor. Because caster this floor really showed me how frail caster is if an enemy can just attack. And I actually lose twice on this floor, but when I was actually trying to get back to where I was in this episode, I lost again. So the Eschers are the cube of this area. The enemies in this area don't really have an easy pattern to memorize. But these Eschers aren't really anything to worry about. They don't do too much damage, so you really shouldn't be worrying about them too much. I think they like to do break a lot, so that's something. But there are times where they like to switch things up a lot. You can use guard all the time, so it's quite difficult to actually predict the moves for these guys. So you're gonna want to probably do some grinding on this floor for a little while. And there's actually a lot of hidden passageways in this first floor as well. And I'll be going through and getting all the items. You're playing the hide and seek game with Alice, but you can get all the items before then. The only thing you can't get because of the hide and seek game with Alice is the cipher trigger, cipher key or trigger, right? That's what it is. I forget. But either way, the Eschers aren't that much of an issue. You shouldn't have too much of a problem with them. No, the reason I'm having a lot of trouble is because I'm not really paying attention. I'm not really trying to memorize their patterns or anything like that. I'm just going through, which is what eventually leads to my downfall later in the episode. But you guys should really pay attention to not do what I do and pay attention to their moves. Yeah, as of now, that heal spell was a code cast, I should say, is pretty much the equivalent of a full restored Pokemon for right now. These guys do break a lot, and they sometimes attack. If you're really unsure of what they're gonna do, just do break all the time. You'll be fine there. You get hit sometimes because, you know, the enemy will do attack, but there are times where he'll just break all the time. No, there are times where he'll just guard all the time instead of attack. So if you're really unsure, just do break all the time, and you'll be fine. You should have enough defense as anybody, really. These guys might be the best guys to actually recharge your MP against, as if you use your MP in this floor. These guys do guard a lot, so if you cast a spell to recover your MP, these guys are probably the best guys to do that on. This item here, I believe, is a remedy. Man, it's kind of a pointless item, but considering we have a few remedies already, I mean, the item's always nice. The weather drives. These are the enemies I was talking about earlier. They do a crap ton of damage to you, as you can see there. Actually, I think I do decently well against these guys on my first. Yeah, I do decently well on my first try. And I never do well again. Now the first two fights I believe I do alright in, but after that it's just a nightmare. Because if you mess up even once against these guys, you're done. If they can get a 3-hit chain on you, you're done, essentially. My wins from up to this point against these things are pretty much because I guessed right. I was just lucky and I guessed right. And the reason I went against, I lose against the fourth one of these guys I'd fight. And the reason I won against the third guy is because I just used magic. So I recommend when you fight these guys, just use magic all the time. Yeah, there you can see how much damage they actually can do to you if you let them hit you. Keep yourself constantly healed for when you fight these guys, especially if you're playing as caster. If you're playing as archer or saber, you shouldn't have as tough of a time against these guys. I hate these guys. I really don't like them. And that's odd. My commentary, the levels are back to where they were before. I don't know what's going on. $5,000 PPT. Oh boy. No, that's actually good because it gave us some of the money we lost when we spent that we spent on formal wear. When you New Game Plus, you can bring all the formal wear that you had into the New Game Plus. So you might want to purchase all the formal wear if you want to bring that over to New Game Plus. Alice runs away again, and we encounter another Escher. I went against that guy mainly because I just used magic for him, as you can see from my lack of MP. I used a bit too much magic, more than was necessary. Oh god! In my replay of this, I didn't actually cover that area there with that ether fragment fully, so it's missed. So the bit of the map is missing there. You'll notice that in the next episode. And this is where very bad things happen, and I'd lose. No, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So I'll see you guys again next time, whenever that is. Bye.